quick breakdown of what I've taken on the Cape Wrath and what I'm taking for my trips at the moment. Nothing spectacular. The rucksack, I'm sure, with all the kit in it there, is coming in at about 6.5, 7 kilograms. Usually when I have all my camera gear, oof, that's a good extra 2 to 3 kilograms. So when it comes to the camping side, I think I've got it dialed in pretty good. I've decided to do a video on the kit that I took on the Cape Wrath trail. And I thought I'd just go quickly through everything that I've used. And I've also put a list down below in the description that will take you to a website, and it shows you absolutely everything I took, the weights, and yeah, all the camera gear I brought with me as well when I done the Cape Wrath. But the main one that some people have noticed is I changed my rucksack. I was using the Gregory Optic, which is a great rucksack. And the only reason that I decided to change from that to this Gossamer gear, which is a G4-20, was just to try and get my weight down, my base weight for when I was on the trail. The thing with this rucksack is it has its good points and its bad points, but one of them is that it uses this sit pad to give it support and obviously protect your back when it's full of stuff. You do get a sweaty back because of it. Yeah, it's okay. Actually, when it's quite cold and windy, it's quite a nice thing because it keeps your back warm and you don't have the wind kind of whistling through like you do with some of the suspension system rucksacks. But yeah, that's really one of the main differences. Now, the outside also has a mesh pocket, and much like the Gregory Optic, I would recommend you get a rucksack that has this. It's ideal for items that you want to access quickly on the trail. So start there. Now the main one is my cooking system, which is just a 600 milliliter titanium pot with my stove, gas canister, lighter. That's it. Simple setup. If it's in here and I fancy having a coffee on the trail, I can just stop, take out, have a coffee. This pouch is my Nock Vecto, a great pouch for collecting water, especially when you know that you're going to be close to camp for the evening and you've got a water supply. But it just has this really wide opening, which is fantastic for scooping water out of ponds, streams, whatever. And I would usually use it near the end of a day's hiking when I was near a water supply and I knew I was going to be putting the tent up, just collect my water for the evening. One item I keep in the back because they're quite bulky are these tent pegs, and I've got 4 of them, and they're called Delta anchors. They're a fair size and a little bit of weight to them, but I always take 4 on every camp I go on and with every tent I have used, because I know that in Scotland on boggy ground and just the terrain that we have, and this gives me the confidence to know that the tent is fairly secure in the ground. See, I really rate these and I use them all the time. Worth that little bit extra weight for the peace of mind. Now, a few people are going to be interested in this one, and this is my waterproofs, which I have just in a little sil nylon pouch. But the main one is this waterproof jacket, and it's from Mountain Equipment, and it's called the Propeller Jacket. It's a fairly new technology to hill walking or mountaineering, but it's been used for a lot of jackets for people that do the hill running and cycling. And it's just a new type of Gore-Tex, and it has this kind of rubberized membrane, which means that it beads amazingly well. It just won't wet out. It just beads and runs off, and you never need to reproof it again. It's just been a tremendous jacket, especially in the Cape Wrath, and also found that the breathability of it is just second to none. It's one of the best jackets I've ever worn for breathability. And I was doing some quite strenuous hikes up and down the hills. Never had any issue with it, especially in the Cape Wrath. It worked really well, extremely lightweight and packs down easily. A great jacket. Now, this is my waterproof trousers, and I got these from Decathlon. I think they're about £20. Do the job, nothing fantastic, not extremely lightweight, but yeah, they do the job. As I say, I just keep everything in this and down in the back of the pouch, so it's easy access should the heavens decide to open. And also in here I have a sit pad, come kneel pad. I also use this in front of my dual mid. I've used it in most tents in the kind of porch area. Just handy for when you're getting in and out, if you've got to kneel on the wet ground, or if you just want to have a sit somewhere and it's wet. I always take that with me. Now in the top of this rucksack, it does have one pocket, one waterproof zipped pocket, and that's just some basics. I've usually got my digging trowel for digging a hole for going to the toilet. I've got some hand sanitizer and yeah, toilet paper. Now this is my first aid kit. It's quite a basic one. I have ibuprofen, aspirin, and I've also updated it since my Cape Wrath adventure, not having enough kit to cover for blisters, so I've definitely remedied it this time. I have a small towel and also take some hand warmers. They're quite handy. They're also good if you have cold feet. You can put them inside with your socks at night. Helps to warm your feet up. I always take some of those with me. So that's everything in the top. Yeah, just stuff that I might need as I'm walking. One of the things I did like about this rucksack is the large pouch on the side for putting your tent in. Really depends on the size of your tent, but I have my dual mid outer here. I've got it inside this silk nylon bag. It's a roll top and clip closure, and I've actually clipped it to the strings on the side of the rucksack so that if it was to come out, I won't lose it. And it's just a case of pulling it out, yeah, unrolling it, and there you have it. That's my dual mid tent, which you'll have seen before in my other videos. I'll put a link to that up here if you don't know what a dual mid is. And that's been my main tent for the last few good trips. On the other side, I have my tent pegs. These are just my normal ones. I have some plastic ones, which I don't know where I got them from, to be honest. They're just long, 120mm, 110mm long pegs, and some groundhogs. And I also have some small spikes just for the inner tent. And that's it. And again, what I have done is I've clipped it to the side with this rather large, it's a rather large safety pin, just to make sure again that if it was to fall out, I wouldn't lose it. But I can also use this safety pin for attaching my socks off the back if I want to dry them out whilst walking. And normally I would also have an extra water bottle here, just to make sure that I've got plenty of water for the day. Now when it comes to water, on the front, I have added this, just this little loop. And it works with this Catadine B3 filter. And I've got the 0.6 litre kind of scrunch bottle that goes with it. I've found that if I collect water when I'm out and about, I can just collect the water, do up the filter section, and then because of this loop, I can put it over, tighten up the cap, the sports cap, and then I've also got a bit of bungee I've put on down here, and it just lets me secure the bottle so I can fill and drink as I go, and yeah, just keep it topped up whenever I can get access to water. But I found it to work fantastically well. One thing I did notice on my latest outing is that the filter isn't as good as it was. It's starting to get clogged up and I'm struggling to get water through it. That's not been a particularly large number of trips, to be honest. It's a bit concerning, that, and I've tried to back flush it and it doesn't look dirty, but yeah, clogged up. The extra expense in getting another one I think is worthwhile, because when it does work, it's one of the best filters I've ever used. It's just a real shame that it seems to clog up as fast as it does. Now the rucksack does have a roll top closure, which is really handy, because if you have a lot of food, you could have the bag filled up so it's maybe that height, and as you're going through the food, you can scrunch it down. I think that was really good on the trail. I've just got one food pack in here. This is one that I would just take for one day's outing. It's just a main meal, some snacks, coffee, things like that. But what I do try and do is keep them flat. So you've got all these kind of flat packed meals for each day of the trip. Just easier for putting into the rucksack. Now on the top here I do have this Alp Kit Windproof kind of fleece, just for when it was getting a bit chilly and I wanted to just have that little bit extra warmth. To be honest, I hardly used it on the Cape Wrath, but it was handy to have. Now, I did wear trekking tights. These are also from Alp Kit, and they worked really well, but I must say they're actually quite frayed after just doing the Cape Wrath. A lot of the seams and stitching, and there's also a couple of little holes appearing, which, to be honest, I was quite surprised about. But again, they worked well. That time of year I do like wearing trekking tights because they keep your legs warm in the wind. If they get wet, they do dry very quickly, and also because of the tight fit, it helps to prevent ticks crawling up your legs or any other insects like that. And to be honest as well, at night, if they were dry and they weren't wet, I just wore them in my sleeping bag and just slept with them on. One of my favourite bits of kit. I have my inner nest or inner tent for my geomid. Again, I just keep that in there in a little stuff sack. I have my Snozzle pump sack as well. This is for everything I want to kind of keep dry. Stuff that I will use at camp later on. I had a buff in there for at night if I wanted to put over my head or neck or that if I was cold. Or I could use it during the day if I needed it. I had this a down jacket. This is also from Decathlon, and it's called it's a 4-class version. Very, very warm and very lightweight and not that expensive. I'm sure this was maybe 40 or 50 pounds. A tremendous jacket for the money, really good. Now, when I was wearing my trekking tights, I did wear these every day, and it was a set of Omm Running shorts. They're ultra lightweight and they're waterproof. And to be honest, I think I only wore my waterproof trousers once, because in most rain showers and things like that, this would keep my legs dry, basically up to above my knees. A great bit of kit for that. Your feet up to your shins are wet anyway, you know, walking through the grass. This just kept my midsection dry. Great, I think it's great. It's much like you'll see people trying out the rain kilts. I think that works a lot better because with a rain kilt it flaps and blows about, whereas this was kind of, it wasn't affected by the wind as much. Really good. Have my mat, which is my C2 Summit Etherlight XT. Yeah, you know about that. Done a few reviews. Love it. Very comfortable. And then in the bottom is basically my C2 Summit SP3 sleeping bag and my pillow. Now I've actually put it in this Wild Sky Gear Dyneema bag, and I got this actually for my food. And I'm thinking about getting a couple more of these because they're just really good for packing your stuff and guaranteeing to keep it dry no matter what. I think we'll go through how I pack my rucksack because it's really straightforward, to be honest. If I've got my tent set up, it's just a case of sleeping bag packed away, and that goes in first, and just stuff that down into the bottom. I'll then put my roll mat. I don't bother with a bag for it, I just roll up, get all the air out, roll up, put that in, put the inner nest in there as well, and it just helps to pack out the bottom of the rucksack. Then I have all the stuff that I would normally wear, or things such as, I should have added, things such as this. I did bring some gloves with me. These are the Montane Prism gloves, very lightweight, very warm, and an extra jumper. So that kind of stuff, you know, this in the down jacket, that was just in the Snozzle pump sack. And it's the Snozzle pump sack that I use to inflate my Sea to Summit mat. It actually works with it. So you're kind of getting multiple uses out of it. So you've got this nice bag as well to keep your stuff dry, and also use it to inflate your mat. So that's in. Put this stuff in. Obviously I was wearing this. I put this fleece in there, this ultralight fleece, just in case I was needing access to it during the day. And along with the food, I would also keep at least some food in the top. So if I wanted an extra snack or a coffee or something like that, I could just unroll the top and just quick access to the food. And just roll it down and clip it up. Now on the side, it would just be a case of packing away my Duomid outer tent, put it into this stuff sack and squidge it down, and then into the side of the rucksack, and then just clip it onto the string here just to make sure it's safe. That's really it. Waterproofs in the bottom, tent pegs for these delta anchors, cooking system, and my water bladder or water storage pouch bladder. Done. Simple as that. Another item of clothing I wore every day, and I wore it with my thermal top, was this Montane Windproof jacket. Again, extremely lightweight, worked great, but I will say that the hood on it, the way it rolls up and folds away, it's absolutely useless. And if you didn't do that when you're walking, you'd have the hood flapping about everywhere. So that side of it I wasn't too impressed with, but the performance of it in the wind and the rain was excellent. Often I would just wear this when it was raining, and it would dry off really quick as soon as the showers had passed. Everybody asks about this orange pouch setup. It's called a ribs pack, and it comes from the United States, and I don't think they make them anymore. There was a few shops in the UK, some outdoor survival shops and that had them. They're probably all gone now. And really it's just a case of keeping an eye out on eBay for them. I usually use this to carry all my camera gear and some items that I want quick access to. So items such as my maps when I was hiking. I had some waterproof gloves as well. These are Innovates. Again, they're meant for trail running, but they're just mitts. Waterproof, windproof mitts. Ideal for with the trekking poles. I took those. And also had my battery pack and chargers. Now it's a company called Charmcast, and I've put this inside a Ziploc to keep it dry, but this is actually 2600 milliamp hours, and it's extremely thin and not too heavy considering, and that allowed me to charge up my GoPro, phone, everything on the trail for the whole week, and I still think I had about 20% charge left in it by the time I got to my accommodation. So ideal for a week at a time. Great bit kit. Stuff in this, that's just, dilute juice I could add into my water bottle to give it a bit of flavour. This side is really just camera gear that I would have with me. I did bring with me obviously a compass, whistle, maps and a personal locator beacon. I recommend if you're out in the hills and the mountains on your own to get one. This is a Fast Find Ranger, registered to me, and if anything happens I could activate that and it goes straight to satellite and straight to the mountain rescue. So that's it. That's everything I take when I'm going out wild camping and what I used on the Cape Wrath Trail. There's lots of stuff where you can go really ultralight backpacking or yeah, I do like a bit of comfort, and I think for me this is ideal setup. It's not overly heavy and it's not ultra light, and there's that fine line in the kit that you use, more so for me in Scotland. The Scottish climate and environment is slightly different from some of the backpacking stuff you'll see other people use doing trails in America and that. And yeah, it's a comfort come safety thing, and to me I think it's kind of, it strikes the right balance of functionality and weight, and that's what I use. So as always, thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and yeah, as always, until next time, take care.